had all weekend. Great Britain go in lane at number 4, and there's been a crew change. James Cracknell in for the Coxswain 4, Lewis Attrell out because he's had a bad back. We're looking now at the British crew, stroked by Trapmore, as they move off, and look at the determination in his face, as they move off now through the first 100 to 150 metres. Lane order for you: Canada in 1, they'll be the top of the picture, Romania, USA, Great Britain, Australia and Croatia there in the foreground, closest to the camera.
Great Britain up at 45, Steve Trapmore had them off over 50, and goodness knows what James Cracknell's going to be thinking after having raced in the 4s. But there's a shot of the Croatians, Igor Borowska there, just with a balding head. He thought his chances of World Championship glory were out last year. Suddenly he finds himself now in contention, but what a move by the British boys.
The traditional black boat now has gone out to a quarter of a length. They've really taken this race on, and they've got to do. They had a disappointing loss to the Australians in lane 5 at Henley a couple of weeks ago, and so there's revenge there again today to put the cards right. But Great Britain now, quarter of a length, the black boat looking strong.
Yeah, 39.5 strokes a minute. I mean, that's a tremendous move. I think shows their confidence coming back from Henley, that the victory they had in the first heat here, that they've gone out and really posted a challenge to the Australians. And I think now, lonely are the brave, they've got to really do this all the way down the course.
With about 650 metres gone now, Great Britain out to a third of a length. They're just creeping a stroke for stroke. They're just slightly ahead of Romania up there in lane 2. USA, the traditional style of USA. The USA are the world champions, but not this crew. This USA crew contains the Coxswain 4 and the Coxswain pair, who had to qualify just a few days ago for Sydney.
Just running down the surprise crew of this year's 8, the Croatians come from nowhere to win the first World Cup. Beat the British in Munich, but now the British are out in front, and the technique is looking good. That same technique that saw them win in Vienna. There's not a crew leader in this boat as such, no outstanding individual. They do it all together on movement, and if it feels right, the boat goes, and that's what it's doing at the moment.
Shot of James Cracknell on the glasses, down to Luka GRUBOR, Kieran West, SCARLETT in the 7C, and the ever smooth. I mean, I really do like Steve Trapmore in the stroke seat. He's a very, very smooth and competitive strokeman in the men's 8. But they're coming towards now the 1,000-metre mark. Into the third 500, Great Britain have really taken this final on. Now in this third 5, they've got to consolidate the lead they have. Australia chasing them, they're in second place, and USA are in the third. The Australian crew rode so impressively to win the Grand Challenge Cup at Henley Royal Regatta 2 weeks ago, and now the British crew are reversing that.
Shot there across at the American with the sunglasses, Mike Whirley. He was in the 8 in the World Championships last year. 2 or 3 gold medals, and moving down the Croatian 8, looking up to the chasing Australians, who are moving closer, I think, to Britain. We can expect Australia to come back in this third 500.
Fantastic conditions. Look at flat water now, and the crews go past the tented parts of this course where all their teammates will cheer them on. You can hear it in the background now. But Great Britain on top of the picture, looking smooth, yeah, looking just comfortable. They're sitting there, but they've got to really make sure they're on top of this Australian crew.
Yeah, I think they've had to move on now a little bit to see the Australians. Again, everything in this British boat is on movement. It's all on connection. Their coaches, Martin McElroy and Harry Mahon, the New Zealander, have really set this boat up tremendously well. They've had a lot of problems after that loss at Henley, but they've come back. They've been relaxed around here, around the hotel, around the town, and really enthused by their victory in that first heat.
But look, here come the Americans though in lane 3. The Americans, as we go through the 1,500-metre mark, 500 to go, the Americans are challenging first of all Australia in lane 5, and they're starting to creep now on Great Britain in lane 4. Close up there of the British boy, the hands going round the back turn and the legs down, driving down. Ben Hunt Davis to the right, Simon Dennis there just sits in front of him.
And James Cracknell, what must he be feeling now after that 4s race, and now he's out in front in the 8. Steve Trapmore, as ever, smooth with his rhythm, and they're holding.
But look at this, Martin, you compare the rates, yeah, Great Britain is slightly ahead of Australia. The Australians are now starting to charge. If they just increase the rate, they may well challenge, but the race is really on, and time is running out for Australia.
Yeah, Australia led by MCKAY, the member of the awesome foursome. He's the true leader in this boat. It's built around him, and he's going to be calling for more effort from the middle of the boat as they come to the finish.
So it's going to be a fantastic finish in the last 200 metres, the final, the men's 8, and Rowley Douglas urges his men on. A little look to the right, Australia are on the right, pushing them on, and here come the Australians. They're on 40, Great Britain 43, Australia 42. It's a race to the line, there's 100 metres to go, and still the Australians challenge hard, and with them the Americans up there in lane 3. Can the British, the black boat, hold on now? It's going to be a canvas at the moment, and yet here come the Australians up to the line. It's just going to be on the line, and Great Britain hold, and it's a matter of 5 or 6 feet, if that. A fantastic race, Martin, and victory to Great Britain, but the Australians, don't they look good?
Oh, well, the Australians challenged very well, but I mean, shaking the hands from Rowley Douglas, because these boys have come back from what was a very dispiriting defeat at Henley, where they were well beaten, and now look at that, just coming through, just holding on. And what was impressive about it was the way they did it. The rowing was there, the technique was perfection, what they've been working on.
They seem to work well under pressure. 250 metres, you've got the Americans coming back, you've got these guys who are fabulous oarsmen coming back, and they held everything together. They just knew to row well and hold on, and the line would be there. Yeah,
and we've got to say well done to the coaches, but also in the middle of that boat, I mean, we were sitting before the race thinking, well, they don't have a chance with Cracknell, who must be so tired after that fours race, right in the engine room in the middle. And he's come back and produced a great result to hang on the line.
I mean, dare I say it, James looked quite good in there. You know, he looked settled in the middle of the boat there, and looked as though he was enjoying the row. It was very comfortable for him.
Yeah, I think so, and the Australians are a bit dispirited now, and they go to Sydney, and they haven't managed to repeat their Henley form.
So it's a fantastic victory here for Great Britain in the final race now before all these crews come back to the Olympic Regatta in September in Sydney. But it's first for Great Britain, but only just over a very quick, over the last 500 Australian crew. USA in third place, and they'll be back with a better crew and a faster crew.